We are not too far gone from hearing about what is going to be dropping in iOS 27. So here are 7 things that we are predicting that we are going to see with this update from WWDC, and we got some good stuff for us. And I'll be honest, there's going to be some AI features, so stay tuned and watch and listen for those. So first one, with the big announcement of Apple taking over, or not taking over, but acquiring Gemini's basic language model, we will be getting a Siri AI chatbot. So what does this mean? Well, we have Gemini, we have ChatGPT, we got Grok, just to name a few different AIs. Siri will have its own AI chatbot app that you'll be able to use, very similar to the ones I just mentioned. So whether you want to just ask it a question or things like that, the use of those will be very similar to those AIs like ChatGPT and Gemini. So it'll be really interesting to see how they do it. And a lot of these features that they have are going to be AI, because this year should be the year where they finally release an actual AI, because in the last 2-3 years they've been saying they will, and honestly we haven't gotten it yet. So let's hope for that. Number 2 is going to be the visual intelligence. So what does this mean? Well, Google has it. If you go onto a Google phone, you can click Google Intelligence and it'll tell you whatever you're looking at. Apple wants to do something very similar, where you can just open your camera and it'll be like, hey, so you're looking at maybe a MacBook Pro, and then it'll have a link and you can go find and buy one. Or maybe you're looking at a sign you can't read and it'll scan it and tell you what it is. So I think with the AI, this will be actually really helpful, and it'll probably actually work. They also are rumored to have a tracker, like a calorie tracker, very similar to like MyFitnessPal, where you can just scan a barcode and they'll put the information into the Apple Health app. So it'll be interesting to see a big company like this kind of dominate an app or a company that is existing previously. So stay tuned for the health and nutrition side of maybe potential iOS 27 updates. This number 3 is actually going to be super nice. So we've had Apple Wallet for a while now. You can put your flights, you can put your credit cards and debit cards in there. They're going to make it so you can create a pass. So if an app or website or some QR code doesn't support Apple Wallet already, you're going to be able to create a pass. So maybe for the gym, for example, they don't support it. It's rumored that maybe you could take a screenshot or something and have it create a pass and just put it in your Apple Wallet, so you can just pull it out a lot easier, and it's going to be a little bit more simplified. So that right there is going to be a nice feature that could be really good or just be average, but I think it'll be awesome. Okay, so with the rumored Fold coming out, there is some rumors of potential multitasking in iPhone. Honestly, I think that's going to be staying with just the Fold, because obviously it's the Fold. We know that iPad's been able to do this for a while. So with the screen being very small on iPhone, they might not do it, but I do know like Samsung does it. So Apple might bring that to iPhone in iOS 27, but we're not 100% sure. So stay tuned for the video when that drops in the summer of Apple's WWDC, of when they talk about this stuff. But there is a potential multitasking feature that could drop in iOS 27. So we'll see. I do think it will stay for the Fold, but we never know. All right, so this one's kind of cool, and this will probably just be with the new iPhones dropping with the 18 lineup, but it is rumored to have satellite coverage. Now let me explain. So say you're out in the woods, and usually your phone will say like SOS. You're out of service, you can't connect to a cell tower. Your phone's like, well, if you need some help, all you can do is send like an SOS signal or whatever. So Apple is apparently putting some sort of modem or something in the iPhone to make it so if you're out stranded, you can first have access to your maps, which will be super nice. Right now you can just offload just a little picture or like certain area of a map, and so if you are offline, you can use that selected part, but it does take up a little bit of data. But if you're able to use the map offline, you wouldn't need to do that, and you would save a lot of time, because maybe you're stuck, you don't know where to go, you can't pull the maps. So this would be a good feature, but also sending out text. So this could be super nice when you're out stranded. You can still send a text because, well, there's satellites. They'll just connect to it, send it. So that will be a nice feature, but it'll most likely be on the iPhone 18 lineup. So don't get too excited if you don't plan on getting one. The next one is AI photo enhancements. So Google does this already. They've had a lot of the AI cleanups. Apple tried doing it with the iOS 26 and it wasn't as good as Google's, but it was fine. So Apple wants to do an expand. So say you take a photo, auto generates what it thinks the outside is. Technically, Apple kind of does this with live photos. So when you take a picture, it's already recording what's going on before and after. So technically, if Apple did this, it could just pull information from the ultra wide photo and just expand it and just stitch it together. Now it does beg the question, like, what is a photo? With all these AI features, like, you know, if you take a person out of the photo or expand, or like, what is considered a photo? I know Apple's been pretty strict on what is a photo, and so hopefully they don't make it so you can just pull pictures and change them like crazy, because I do like just a natural organic photo. Sometimes it is nice if there was something in the way, you can remove it, but really keeping the photo to its original form. So they do have the expand, but they will have reframe, which I guess you'll be able to like move the photo into a different POV or something like that. I'm sure as you're moving around with your phone, it's just taking pictures and saving them for a certain amount of time. So if you do use this feature, it'll just stitch it together. So I am curious to see how they'll do that, and just AI enhancement of the photo, whether that's, you know, removing something or making the photo look better. We'll see what happens, but it's rumored. So lastly is not necessarily a new iOS feature, but is iPhone 11's lineup and older are getting removed from receiving updates from iOS 27. So if you do have an iPhone 11 or older, sorry, this is going to be the year you are booted out. But the bright side is Apple is one of the best companies when it comes to keeping old phones. We know Google and Samsung keep them for around 4 to 5 years. Apple keeps them for 7. So if you are looking to upgrade and you have an older phone, Apple is probably the phone you want to go with if you're planning on keeping them for a long time. They do continue to service them and get updates for up to 7 years, which is very nice when most companies do not do that. So if you do have an old phone, 11 or older, this will be the year to upgrade. And if you didn't watch Marquez's Phone of the Year award, I think it went to the iPhone 17. Apple's really been kicking it on the iPhone 17 lineup, and hopefully they keep doing it with iOS or with iPhone 18 this year. And I'm super curious to see what happens with iOS 27 and all the fun things that we get with that, as well as the new iPhone series. So if you want to stay up to date on what's going on, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tuned. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.